mind of better wisdom that came in one moment is dying right there. So the mind which decided I will not be angry anymore has gone. Another mind comes which feels like I have to be angry. So 5 minutes apart, there are two different minds coming, and we call both I, but both are not doing the same thing. One is trying to become better, another is trying to pull us down further into samsara, and both are within us. Whatever habitually arises in us, whatever karma pulls us into, that moment we feel this is me. I have to do for this. I don't even say that this me is not there in the next moment. Next moment, I'll be calling something else as me. But when you see, okay, nothing is actually me, different form experiences come, different cognitions come, different feelings come, different formations come, different perceptions come. But I don't have to hold on to anything. This is not really me. Then that strong holding will not be there. That strong craving will not be there. And we will not deeply feel hurt with anything. We can open up to what is innately good in us. That's basically our pure aspect of being clearly and lucidly aware, very peaceful, happy, contented. So the state of nirvana. We have gone through the beginning part of the Heart Sutra. Ayushman Śāriputra, a venerable Arhat, foremost of wisdom holding Arhats, asked this question to Avalokiteshvara by being inspired by the Buddha. He asked this question that how does a bodhisattva practice the profound transcendental perfection of wisdom? So, before we go to the answer that Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara gives, I thought it would be good for us to first understand what Śāriputra understands, because without knowing what Śāriputra understands, even if we hear to what additionally Avalokiteshvara is telling Śāriputra, we may not really understand the difference. Okay, because Śāriputra himself understands much better than us, and Śāriputra has realized the selflessness. So Śāriputra has seen something. We'll come to that. And now Avalokiteshvara is going deeper than that. So even if we do not fully realize what Śāriputra has realized, at least we should now try to understand how much Śāriputra understands, at least at the conceptual level. Let us try to understand, as well as let us try to at least get a taste of that realization before we go forward. So, as a Shravaka disciple, Śāriputra primarily practices, as it has been told before, like he practices towards one's own liberation. And for one's own liberation, so what one attends to is that, okay, where does all these emotions come from? Where does this craving for existence again and again comes from? And looking for that, one looks into what is this I or self, which is the basis of all the craving. So one explores that part. What is this I? I, when I say I or self, we all know that, right? We all experience something called I. So when I say the word self, sometimes there could be confusion, because self, or in Sanskrit, Anātma, sometimes is quite loaded. Atma, the word Atma simply means I. Atma means I. But it's quite philosophically loaded. Sometimes there is a lot of additional speculations being done about what this Atma is, what this self is. Okay? So Buddha talks about how this I is not there, or how this self is not there. Okay, and just hearing that, okay, there is no self, often there is so much of confusion about, oh, is there no self? Then how do we live? What are we then, right? So we have to understand this point little deeply. So we shall explore that part a little bit today. Buddha talks about selflessness. Selflessness in the sense like there is no self, there is no I. Let's understand what he means by no I. Okay? Because we all experience I, right? We all experience I. We all have a sense of I. I want to practice. I am listening to this, right? And I get angry, or I want this, or I am getting irritated. So whatever we say, whatever we think, it's always with reference to an I. So we can't negate the fact that we experience a sense of I. Of course, there is an experience of a sense of I. But what exactly is that I is something which we often do not look at all. We just take it for granted. When we feel like, I want this, I just go after this. I want that, I just go after that. We never check, oh, which is that I which wanted it. We just go after. Whatever internally I feel like I want this, or I want to get rid of this, I hate this fellow, or I'm angry at this fellow, or I feel attachment to somebody. All that, we just look at the other side, but we do not usually look at what is this I which comes with all these kind of different feelings and different perceptions and different cognitions. So when we look into that part, then we realize that, okay, there is no solid I, there is no substantial thing, there is no inherent thing called I which stands like that forever. Okay? So this is something which we need to understand a little more deeply. So in this context, given some kind of homework, hope some of you have tried to meditate on that before, requested all of you to, if possible, look into what all kinds of different experiences you have and try to see whether all of them fit into this the 5 buckets of the 5 aggregates, the 5 skandhas. So let us first try to see what all different kinds of things we experience. And let's see whether they all fit into these 5 buckets. The 5 buckets, hopefully you remember, these are the 5 skandhas are form. Form includes not only the visual form, but all the experiences of 5 senses, all that we experience as external objects and as our body and all that sensations, all that comes under form. Okay? And then there is a feeling. Whenever we experience a form associated with that, we sometimes feel pleasant, sometimes feel unpleasant, sometimes this is agreeable to me, sometimes disagreeable to me. Sometimes oh, this is nice, sometimes not nice. So it's not at a conceptual level, but direct experience-wise, we have an experience of either pain or pleasure, or happiness or suffering, or something in between, including neutral, and with respect to any of our experience. So that is what is called the feeling or Vedana. And then there is perception. Perception is something like whenever there is an experience, we also come with mental ideas regarding that. Oh, this is good, this is bad, or this is mobile, this is laptop, or this is that person, or this person I know, this person I don't know, or whatever. So there are so many labels and ideas we associate with each of our experience. And so that perception itself is an experience which we have. Okay? And perceptions also bring feelings. Depending on how we perceive, sometimes we feel good, sometimes we feel bad, like happiness and suffering. Then there is cognition, the fifth one I will say first. The cognition is like we also have, we not only see a form, we also have the experience of seeing. We not only have the experience of form, we also have the experience of seeing. We also have the experience of hearing. So all this 5 sense consciousness, as well as the experience of thinking and knowing and all that. So all this come under cognition. Then whatever is not these 4 are the 4th in the list, which is called mental formations. So mental formations include various other reactionary things. One, of course, the different aspects of mind, like different emotions, different attention to that, attention to detail, or holding on to the object and things like that, as well as all the different emotional reactions or various intentions which we form with respect to our experiences. All that comes under the formations. So now let's stop here and see a little bit about whether whatever experiences today we had or whatever you've meditated before, does that fall into these five? So everything falls into this, right?
Everything falls under these five.
Yes, everything falls under this five. Did anyone find anything which doesn't fall into this five? Did anyone experience anything which is not falling into this five? Hopefully, no. Or if anyone has a confusion, you can say.
No.
Nothing? Okay. Okay, nothing, right? Nothing. Okay, so whatever we experience, it falls into these five. And is any of the experience standing forever?
No. Other than I feeling.
Even the I feeling? Okay, we have this label which seemingly is there forever. Then now we'll look into that. Okay. Other than that, everything is changing, including our cognition, right? We don't cognize the same thing all the time.
Yes.
We cognize different things. Right? We don't have the same cognition all the time. Sometimes we hear one sound, another time we hear another sound. Sometimes we look into ourselves and see some peace. Sometimes we do not find that peace. Sometimes we are aware of hearing, sometimes we are not aware of it. So even the cognition is changing. But somehow the sense of I, the pursuit of satisfying the I, that seems to continue. Okay? So we have to try to see what that I is. Okay? Which exactly is that I? We have to see that. So that is another exercise I requested you to go through, like basically when this different sense of I arise, are they all pointing to the same thing? For example, when I feel like I'm angry, at another time when I feel like, oh, I like this, or I am in pain, or I am happy, or I hear a sound. Okay? So all this, is it referring to the same thing? So we are always referring to an I. But is this I always referring to the same thing?
Yes.
At least we can connect all these together.
Yeah, we can connect all these things together. But is any of this I, is I always referring to the same experience? So we have only things which fall into the five buckets. So is this I always referring to one bucket or one item which stands there forever? Because we have seen that I is just a label, right? We always use this label. We have a sense of I. So we label something as I. But in our experiences, is that always referring to the same experience? So if you look at it, you will see it's not. Right?
No.
Because when I say I am angry, so I am identifying myself with emotional formation within me. Right? Right? I'm irritated would be more like a feeling. So when I feel a little bit of pain, there is a painful feeling. Then irritation could be a formation which comes in relation to or in response to that pain, right? And then the irritation then manifests into anger. So each of that time, the I which I refer to is in my current experience, one or other factor I just call I, or I'm centering around one or other thing. It's not always the same, right? So when I'm happy, I'm referring to again the feeling of being happy. I want to have something, that desire, again, it's some other formation, right? Or I look at my body in my mirror and appreciate myself, then it's like the form. So I'm referring to the form as myself there, right?
Yes.
So I am so and so height, my height is so much, and when I say it is not the eye's height, I'm referring to the body, right? So many feet is my height or something if I say, right? It is not the I or self's height. It's referring to body's height, right? So there are different things which we call I, and this is all changing moment by moment. Yeah. So is there anything else which any of you call as I? So other than these changing things, is there anything else which we call as I in our experience? Okay, so here there are again, let me introduce another division also here. So there are two types of essence of I or concept of I, which connects to two types of ignorance which we have. One is something like habitually it has been there with us forever, like it keeps coming. The one which we are discussing now is like that. We don't have to be taught to have this. It is just the language is taught by somebody. We might say I in English or mine in Hindi or Nyan in Malayalam and all that. Different language may be used. So the word use might change, but the sense of I is there, even for humans, even for animals, all the sentient beings, right? There is a sense of I. No matter what name you use or whether you don't use a name, the concept is there, right? So this concept is arising now in all the life, one after other. This concept is arising moment by moment. The idea of centering around something and giving a concept to that. Okay. But then the another part, so this is something like which is happening habitually or without you being conscious about it. It is just arising more or less automatically. But the other part is something called a philosophically or intellectually acquired kind of self. So where it's more like as humans, we contemplate, we form speculative concepts and we read concepts, and based on concepts, we form imaginations, and through that, we have many ideas about self. So one is more about our direct experience and natural. By natural, I don't mean true nature, but habitual nature. That kind of habitual clinging to a self, that is a self-clinging. The other one is more like philosophical concepts. Okay? So in either of that, do you find anything which stands like forever?
No, nothing is there.
Nothing is there, right?
But
People in
still you can
meditation,
connect one to another experience. Like I saw it, I felt happy or I felt sad. So the thread connecting from one moment to another moment is there, a thread which goes from 1 second to another.
Yes, the thread is there. There is a continuity. So we are not totally
Continuity.
discontinuous.
It's not disconnected, it's
randomness. Yeah,
continuous.
there is definitely a connection. So, for example, if I feel pain, next moment I might feel irritation. Next moment I might feel angry. Then I might hit somebody, and after that I might feel sorry. Right. So all of them are kind of connected.
Connected.
Right, and then the repercussion inside will happen for some
Also
time.
connected.
So all these are connected, right? But this is not the same thing. It is like one after the other, something is arising, and this is exactly what we mean by cause and effect. So this is also what karma means. Like, so whatever is happening in one moment leads us to the next moment, and that leads us to next moment. So there is a continuity. So it's not that there is no continuity. We are just here and it's over. So the baggage we take to the next moment. Okay, our conditioning from this moment we carry as a conditioning for next moment. I was hoping somebody will say that, like, sometimes in meditation we feel like there is more like a witness. I am just watching everything. So there is a clear, peaceful awareness, right? Which is probably not changing. It is so blissful, right? So is that I something other than these five? Or is that something which is not changing and permanently there?
It's not permanent. That also goes away after some time. Yeah, even if you want to cling on to it, it doesn't stay.
Yes. So sometimes we might mistake it to be permanent because it's when everything else we let go, we feel like, wow, this is so nice. There is this vividly clear awareness. I am just not affected by anything. I am standing like a witness. But that is not always there. Only when you come to that state, it is there. So it's of course nice. If it's of course, it's really a profound experience. But that is also not a permanent self or I, because that is also coming at some time and vanishing at another time. Of course, it is worth cultivating, okay, which we call as a mindfulness or being aware kind of factor. and not being affected by anything. So that kind of clear awareness is worth cultivating. But unless you cultivate, it is not permanently there. We have not been carrying it all the time. So that way, this is also changing. And I think there is some question here in the chat window. Can be referenced to as a state or sense made by the boundary of pain and pleasure, all thoughts and other things. Can it be called as a result of these boundaries? So the sense of I is, yes, of course, related to that. Basically, we have a reference which we form, and there is some reference like this side of it is me and this side of it is outside of me. And outside itself, something belongs to me, something is not mine. So we make those references. But if you look at where that reference is drawn, that doesn't stay forever, right? Every moment we have a different reference. Sometimes we just call this body as the boundary. But sometimes when I say I am not the body, right? My boundary may be elsewhere. So I'm just the awareness, then the body is not the reference. So like that, which is included, which is excluded, which is my reference point can always keep changing, right? So everything is changing, including that being aware factor. That is also changing. So nothing is like a solid I.
Only our name is there permanently in
Yes,
this
yes.
life.
Yes. So oneself just call as I or whatever that, or others call by a name. So when others call out the name, we know it is me, right?
Yes.
So, but we had this name a little while after our birth, and we have been carrying this name. Just like internally we have the sense of I, we also associate with a particular name which parents have given or we have taken, some name we associate. And we seems to be the same because we have this name. All through this life, we have this name, right? But when we look at
No, people
actually
do
not,
change their names, isn't it? In between,
yes, that's possible. Yes, I've changed the name. We can change the name too. But if we don't change so in a way, sometimes it's good to change the name, then you know that you can become different. Okay? When you don't change the name, you feel like from birth to death, you are the same person. Okay? So sometimes we confuse, like I got this name at the time of birth or before I even becoming aware. Like people get the name in the first month or something. That time they are not even aware. So by the time they are conscious, they are already known by the name. Until that, they are known by the name. So they think
even the name
something
is
associated with that name is staying forever, right?
even that name is changing.
Huh?
Even the name is changing. The mother calls me something a different name. My
Yes,
brothers
that's
call
also
me,
quite possible. Yeah, different people will call by different name. But
yeah.
say,
The
for example,
husband,
for your name is Jaws, so a majority
yeah.
of people call you Jaws. So then you will think
But my wife
Jaws.
is not calling.
Yeah,
My wife is not
yeah.
calling me White Jaws. She's
That's
calling
right.
me Acha.
That's right. So that is there. But even if everyone calls by the same name, even then that name is not associating to a always existing entity, right? That name also refers to a collection only, right? Because our body has changed from the birth to now. Our wisdom also has changed. Our cognitions have changed. Our formations and even the baggage, our habits, everything is changing, right? But the flow is being referred to as I. So nothing is particularly an I, it is just this flow, right? So there is no particular thing which is called the I, but the flow is called the I. It's more like how a river gets the name. So when you say river Ganga, Ganges, or any other river, so this is river Ganges. We have the name, and for generations and centuries and millenniums have been gone with the same name. But water is not the same. Water is changing moment by moment. The quality of the water also is changing, right? Like a few centuries back, how Ganges was and now how it is not the same. So the quality is changing. Its shape is changing because sometimes it takes the shore and go away. Sometimes it reroutes itself, right? So the shape of the river also is changing over time. The soil around is changing. Sometimes it comes and deposits more sand around somewhere. Sometimes it washes away that sand. So everything is changing, but we just call it by the name. one name, right? So in the same way, everything is changing within us, but we still call it by a name. Okay? And how does this matter? We'll come to that shortly. But before that, let's also discuss an example of a chariot. So this is a classical example, and we could also replace chariot by a car or something, but it's just that the car will become a little more complex because there is more. Now you can't just demarcate the parts of cars so easily. There will be like microprocessors in every wheel and so on, software and all that. So it will be more complex system to look at. So chariot is a simple example. So we will use the classical example. Okay. So we have this example of a chariot. And if we look at its parts, so it has wheels, it has a cabin. The cabin itself can be split with the pillars and the roof and the platform where you sit. And then there are all those shafts which connect the wheels together and all that kind of system which put it together, right? So all of this together, we call it a chariot. And I might just call it a chariot, or I might even give a name for it. My particular chariot might have a name for it, right? And then I could change the wheel sometime. The wheel get wear and tear, then I could change the wheel. Then the roof leaks and I could change the roof, right? The platform develop rust or it is cracked or something, then I change that. So over time, I could change each and every part. So even though every part is changed, I could still say it's my chariot, the same chariot. The chariot is changing. It is undergoing wear and tear moment by moment, and there are big changes come when I replace parts. And over time, I might have replaced all the parts. And in spite of that, I would say I have the same old chariot, right? Because it's a continuous change, interlinked. It's never that I disposed the whole chariot and bought a new chariot. It is just a continuous change of adding something, replacing something, and all that. So there is a continuity. So I call it the same chariot. Okay. So now to go deeper into this, so there are certain questions we can ask regarding this. Okay. One is there a chariot other than the parts? I guess all of you know by now. No, right? There is no chariot other than the parts. When the parts put together, we just called it the chariot. Why? If the parts were just lumped together, will you call it a chariot?
No.
If I just heap all the parts together as a mount, will I call it a chariot?
No.
No, right?
Will be useful.
Only if it's assembled in such a way that it can roll, then I call it a chariot. If I pull that shaft, it should come. Either me or like a horse or a cow or something pulling it, it should just roll. And I can sit in it and all that, then I can call it a chariot. So when the parts are put together and function in certain way, I call it a chariot. But still, other than parts, there is no substance to it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, is any one of the part the chariot? So other than parts, there is no substance to it. But is any one of the part the chariot?
Not at all.
No, right? So we can't say the wheel is the chariot or the roof is the chariot or something like that. When everything is put together only, we call it chariot. Yet, there is nothing other than the parts there. Okay?
It's the wheel of my chariot.
Oh, I can take the wheel and say, this is the wheel from my chariot. Yeah. And this is good. This is a typical thing which we usually have also, because
We
I can
usually
say,
do.
this is my body. So when I say this is the wheel of my chariot, it's as if like chariot is elsewhere, the wheel is separate. Right?
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
the construct of the language or the construct of concepts sometimes give that notion. Right? So this is my body means
It's
I
my
am
body.
there. Yeah, I am there as the owner of this body. Right. So
Yeah.
sometimes when people speculate and try to establish that, okay, there is a self or an I which is different from all this experience, this is often used also, because I can always say like, my body. So body is mine, it is not me. Right? And then I could say my mind, my thought. So thought is not me, it is just mine. Right? So the body is not me, the thought is not me. So then the speculation goes to establish that, oh, there must be some other I or a self which is not detectable anywhere, but there has to be something which is holding all this together.
Holding on everything together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should
But
something
putting
should be
on
there.
everything together, you don't need something else. Yes?
That is not like the chariot. We have some life in it. Life with us. Life undallo, life.
Life. No. So the chariot also, so when we come to our system, we talk about life or what do you say, like sentience, we talk about intentions, which chariot doesn't have. But that is because our parts have it. For example, the chariot is a purely material system, for a simple example. But when we come to our own system, it's a good question. But when it comes to our own system, right, the parts are not something like wheel and the roof. We also have parts like the five skandhas, the five aggregates. We experience something, we have feelings, pain and pleasure, then we have perceptions about it, we also react to it. So all the formations are about our reactions. We form various intentions. I don't want to get out of it, I want to hold this. All that is reactions. We emotionalize about it. That is
We
life.
have a personal story also. We have a personal story of all these aggregates. We have a personal private story of all these aggregates.
Yes, that is also there. Basically, we form perceptions which become like stories and baggage and narrations and all that, right? So all this we form. That we can form about the chariot also, but about us when we form, like there is a vibrancy which a material system will not have. But that's not because of
That is
something other than the
awareness is
five.
also there. Awareness
Awareness is also
behind
there.
all this.
In fact, all the five aggregates which we look into our meditation, right? All the five have the quality of being aware. So that way, the qualities are different from the chariot example, but the example still holds, right? Because the being aware quality is kind of there in all these experiences which we have.
Experiences.
Right? In the form experience also it's there, cognition also it's there, feeling, perception, formation, everywhere it's there. Right? And all of them have this vibrance. At least like formation is full of vibrance, either for good or bad. We are basically reacting and going for something. So that's happening. But chariot just rolls. Instead of that, chariot, when it is pulled, it rolls. That's all. But so the components are different, not same as chariot. Components are different, but the concept is same. Just like how chariots wheel, we can say my body, my thought, my mind, and things like that. But that doesn't necessitate a separate I which has to hold all this. For example, even though I can say chariots wheel, chariots roof, chariots platform, chariots shaft, and all that, there is no chariot which is other than all this. It is just the label which I gave for the collection. So same way, when I say my body, my thought, my emotion, it's a label which I gave to all this collection. I or Yogi Prabodha, whatever I call myself, is the name which I give to this collection. And to show the fallacy of a separate self would have solved this, we can even say myself, right? So when I say myself, then self also is possessed by me, right? Then there has to be somebody who possesses the self. Then there has to be another I which is holding the self, which is not
Then
there.
for a dead body.
Yeah, dead body is just the matter part of it. But our consciousness leaves that and go, right? So we continue.
That
So
means consciousness is there as a continuity.
Yes. So when we talk about our system, we are not saying we are only the body. We have all our emotions, we have the thoughts, and we have form. Including form, everything leaves the dead body. Right? Because after we leave the body, when we look from the bardo, we will see the dead body outside. So even that time we have form experience. And after some time, we will not experience this body, we will experience another body. So form experience also continues. So it's just that the materially our clinging to this body has been left, but all our experiences continue.
Make it clear in the Bardo.
Okay,
we
Bardo
see
means
the
like
body.
the intermediate state when after death, after a while, we will experience that I am dead and my old body is out there.
Yeah.
Right. So I could say that the body of being, the one in the intermediate stage, could perceive the body, the dead body being there. And after a while, when another
Who
life
is
is
that?
taken, there will be
Who
another
is that
body.
I?
This continuity,
Who is
same,
that I who sees the
just
body?
the same as what it is now.
Mind.
This continuity of the 5 aggregates. So whichever thought came in me, the cognition came in me, seeing this body or seeing the laptop now, in its continuity, when the clinging to this is not there, another cognition arises, which is now apart from the old material body. So that just
Excluding
sees the
all the other things, excluding the body.
Actually, the form also is there. It is not the
Only
same material body. That's all.
No, form is lying there as dead body.
But there will be a mental form. Basically, you will experience as if you are standing outside the body and experiencing the body. Now you are experiencing as if you are standing inside the body and experiencing the body, right? But after that, you will experience like you are standing outside and experiencing the body. So a form reference is there, right? And after a while, there will be mental forms. Even though you don't take a body, you will experience seeing various forms and you yourself being in different locations, positions, and all that. You will experience a body. You might even experience like you have the same form like what you had earlier. Then gradually it will change to your new form.
We have a same shape, mental body is there within us.
Yes, like not within us now. So currently we cling to this as our body and we take it as a material concrete entity, and that materiality will break. As we go deeper into Heart Sutra, we'll break that. But for the time being, take it as yes, there is a material. Okay. But after you leave, still you will experience a form. You will experience like, oh, my old body is decaying there. Okay. So you're standing apart from that. And if you look at what is my own form, you will see a form at that time, which may be because of the habitual pattern. You might initially see same as what you had in this life, and later it will change. But that is a bit deviation from the topic because we are going into the intermediate states. Okay. But the fact remains that some experience of even form will remain, even though this body has been abandoned. Okay. So our experiential continuity of the 5 aggregates, even there continues. But it's a big breaking point, just like a major replacement happening in the chariot. Okay. The roof for the cabin has been replaced or something like that. So sudden big changes there.
Then why are not we experiencing this one from our previous birth?
If we meditate, go deeper, we can experience that. It's just that we normally do not experience all things, even from this birth, right? We mostly don't remember our first day of this life, right?
Yeah.
So whatever our brain has developed and stored, and with reference to that only we normally are aware. But if we meditate deeply and become more aware moment by moment, cause and effect and all that, we can traverse back. Okay. Anyway, the point here is that, say, the my as a reference, a language reference, does not really hold to a particular thing, because if at all it was holding to something, even myself, I can say like that, and that will not be meaningful at all. Okay. Coming to this, so coming back to the chariot example, the third is there a chariot? That exactly is what we discussed now. Is there a chariot as the possessor of parts? We discussed that already. Basically, just because we say chariot's wheel, chariot's roof and all that, or like I say my body, my mind and all that, is there a me or I which is standing apart to possess all of this? So conventionally in the language use, we feel like that. But when we look into where is that possessor, we will see that there is no special possessor. It is basically the collection only. And as a concept, we are identifying it as an entity and just giving a separate name. And is there a chariot that comes to being depending upon the parts. So conventionally, we feel like that when it's all assembled and functions, right? Then a chariot is born. We give a special praise to it, which we will not give to its parts, right? So conventionally, it appears like there is a new thing which has come up when parts are assembled. Okay. So basically, when parts are put together, a new thing is born. Okay. So it seems like that, but when we look for what is that new thing which is born, we will see that nothing new is born. Right? So, but the sense-wise, experience-wise, it seems like chariot is more than the parts. Just parts lumped together will not function as a chariot, but when it's connected together, it functions as a chariot. So functionally, there is some new experience to us. So we give a name to it, right? So all that is happening. So like that, so when we are born, we have this body, we feel different than if you were in a different body, right? So when all this put together, I have the sense of I, but where is that I or where is that chariot? You will see that there is no new thing born. But at a conventional level, at an experience level, yes, it is experienced as if something new is born, right? So that is a illusion of that. Is there a chariot needed as a support for the parts? So again, the parts themselves are not functioning, right? Only when it's connected as the chariot, it's functioning. So for the parts to function is a new something else needed other than the parts, because parts themselves are not functioning earlier. When it's all connected, it's functioning. So is it that, okay, a separate thing is needed to support the parts to function? What do you think?
Yes, there is that I.
Yeah, no. Actually, it is the parts which interfunction, right? Each part support the other parts and connected together. So the wheels are connected by a shaft and that is connected to the body and all that. So together it functions. So proper connections.
So it is working. Properly connected to become a chariot.
Yes. When it's properly connected, it's chariot. And so that is why because it's properly connected, we feel like some new function has come in. So something new has come. But it is being supported by each other, not by something other than this. So just the same way, say our form, feeling, perception, formations, cognitions are all interconnected and supporting each other, flowing from one moment to the other moment to the next moment. It's flowing, right? But it doesn't need a support from something else. But these are all connected and it's working. So the same way it is. So there is no external thing needed to support it. And is there a chariot that comes to being as the collection of its parts? So again, a related question. So because it's put together, we feel it's there. So is it that put together something is born? So we also discussed that earlier. So answer is no. It feels like yes, but when we look deeply, we see nothing else is born. It's just a new functionality is born. No substance is born. No entity has been born, but a functionality is born. So the same way, all these aggregates working together, it gives rise to the sense of a coordinated continuity. Okay. So that coordinated continuity feels like there is a self. Okay. And is a chariot form of the parts put together? Is it that, okay, when all the parts are put together, it has a new form and so it becomes the chariot? It's not even that, because the form might change when you redesign the roof or something like that. And still you call the same chariot. And we have been changing our form often, right? Day to day, we are changing our form. Still we call with the same name, I. So even our not only physical form, but even our character, our identity, our behavior, all those things will change. And still the name I continues. Okay. So there was a question here. What if we get organ transplant for every part of the body, including some brain region, once the technology allows it, but still maintains our memory and identity? Yeah. Even the memory change, we will say I. For example, from the last life to this life, I've changed all organs and still I am still calling myself I. Last life also I would have called myself I. Right? So even if the memory is gone, identity is gone, still I continues. And in fact, even with all the organs, my identity has been changing. How I identify myself, what I am, would have been changing. But this illusion happens that, oh, I have been this forever. I have been so and so forever. But it's not. When you go into details and look, everything has been changing. Even our identity has been changing. Okay? So, having said this, so there is no particular thing which is identifiable as I. But how is this so important? So what we have done till now is more like a conceptual inquiry into it. Now we should understand why this is so important. Okay? So why this is so important is because, say, our whole life, every moment of our life, how we trap ourselves is for me, for this sense of I, with this notion of self. I do everything in my life, all my emotions, all my clinging, the creation of samsara itself. So the whole craving which keeps the wheel of samsara running, all that I do holding on to the self. Every moment I'm trying to satisfy the self. Okay? But what kind of self am I trying to satisfy? Okay, when I look at that, I will see how foolish I have been. Right? I'll give some example, simple example. Okay? So I get pain, then I get irritation. And irritation runs into anger. And when anger comes, right, to protect self, it seems to be the right thing to do. So I am offended or I am, what do you say, belittled or whatever feeling I get, right? So immediate sense I could potentially get is like, I need to be angry to whoever did it, right? Whoever I see responsible for it. It is my right, or without this, I cannot be happy, right? It is burning inside me. I am bubbling with it and I have to do it, right? But once you do that, then repercussions come from outside come, repercussions from inside also come. So once that anchor has been expressed and you're through it, then what remains is not the satisfaction that, wow, I could be angry, right? What remains is usually like, oh, it feels so bad. By the moment you feel it's so bad, by the time others are angry. Or you have been angry, so now others are angry and they retaliate. By the time you must be feeling, oh, this is so bad, I need not have been angry. Right? But by the time others are retaliating. So we seem to protect the self, but we are actually not protecting our continuity properly. We are creating trouble for our continuity. So even though we are trying to protect self, right, we are not protecting even our continuity. We are actually producing more harm to our continuity. We are putting in seeds for the continuum of samsara, continuity of samsara. So that's what we have been doing. To extend this example further, if I understand anger is bad, one could decide, oh, I will not be angry anymore. Okay? So I will not be angry anymore. So one moment a mind comes, a mind with a deep, better wisdom comes, which thinks that I will not be angry anymore. So does that solve our problem? If I decide I will not be angry anymore, is it true that I will never be angry again?
No, depending upon the occasion.
Yeah. So no, when I decide, I am not depending upon occasion. I am saying that I will not be angry anymore. Anger is so bad, it does not help me. When I analyze, I see that it is of no use. So I decide I will not be angry anymore. But the trouble is that mind of better wisdom that came in one moment is dying right there. Next moment, what comes is something slightly different. So
Yes.
5 minutes later, somebody comes and irritates, then a different moment of mind come. Okay? So the mind which decided I will not be angry anymore has gone. Another mind comes which feels like I have to be angry. Right?
Then how we can...
So 5 minutes apart, there are two different minds coming, and we call both I, but both are not doing the same thing. One is trying to become better, another is trying to pull us down further into samsara. And both are within us. So being me, both are dear to me. That's what I think, right? One moment, I want to be better. Another moment, I just want to express whatever is coming now, right? So whatever habitually arises in us, whatever karma pulls us into, that moment we feel this is me. I have to do for this. I don't even say that this me is not there in the next moment. Next moment, I'll be calling something else as me. Right? We're not even thinking that next moment I'll be calling something else as me. So that much is our self-clinging. So we just look for doing something for this moment. Right? And when anger comes, we don't even think like, oh, now I should have some anger. If that thought comes, anger may not come at all. Right? If I have to act some anger, only good actors can act that. It may not just come. Right? But if irritation comes, for most people, it can just come. No acting is needed, right?
Yes.
Because it's not a conscious decision which we take and, okay, now let me generate some anger. It's not like that. It is totally out of control. Something just comes up, grows, and comes out. And we are not aware. And once it comes up, once it overtakes us, we think this is me. So likewise, say every good and bad thing which we go through life, all kinds of emotions, positive, negative, whatever comes at that time, we think this is me. Right? And we crave to that, we react to that, we create the seeds for samsara. Whereas when we meditate, when we are just let go of this, like what we have done earlier, like when we meditate and see that, okay, these are all just moment by moment, different things come and go. None of this is really me. We can see some deeper opening happening within us. So there are wisdom moments and there are ignorant moments. Though till we get out of samsara, right? Since though our wisdom is not completely perfect, yet at a relative level, there are wisdom moments and there are ignorant moments. Right? So when we have more wisdom, we feel like, wow, there's this bigger continuity, and what I do should be for my longer continuity, this life and beyond, and all that. Even then, there is certain clinging. When I think for the next life and all that, there is a subtle clinging which will still keep running, making the samsara run. But at least it will be a better samsara at that time, because we are not reacting to the moment just based on the ignorance of that moment. So when we see this, whatever I feel as self is not really the self, when we open up to that much, we can see that it is not worth reacting that way. So Yagni was adding that most psychological problems also originate from the sense of self. Basically, whether it is stress or whether it is like anxiety or depression or excitement or whatever it may be, right? So all that is originating with our sense of self. Yeah. Very deep senses of self it is originating. Okay. So when we recognize that, okay, we have been holding to a wrong thing as a self. We have this misconception, some kind of a notion that this is me. Every moment we are overtaken by something which arises within us. Then we confuse this is me and we react to that, creating trouble for us. But when we say that, oh, this is not me, right? The flow can be much smoother. So it is like a turbulent river. So when there is a sense of me is there, it's like a boulder in the river. where it shatters around. The water shatters around, creating trouble, whirlpools, and all that. And when we see, okay, oh, this is just passing by moment, this different five aggregates arise. Nothing is actually me. Different form experiences come, different cognitions come, different feelings come, different formations come, different perceptions come. But I don't have to hold on to anything of this because this is not really me. I've been like many different things in the past. This is just another one of that coming, and this is not truly me, right? And then that strong holding will not be there, that strong craving will not be there, and we will not deeply feel hurt with anything. And we will not react and make the situation worse. So there will be like more peace pervading, more clarity coming. And this idea of pushing and wanting to be something that will get over. That will vanish. And when that vanishes, we can open up. We can open up to what is innately good in us. That's basically our pure aspect of being clearly and lucidly aware, very peaceful, happy, contented. So the state of nirvana, which is beyond what can be described, we can open up to that. So when we talk of this, Śāriputra is one who has realized this much. Now Śāriputra has to go to the next level by what Avalokiteshvara teaches. And we should now at least try to realize this much. Before we go to the next, we should try to realize this much. So what Śāriputra has realized is this: the five skandhas, the different types of experience. So there are, according to Śāriputra's experience, it's like this. There is moment by moment different experiences coming. So he sees them as real. Each experience is real. But they are all just moments and they vanish. Okay? So there is nothing which holds them together and make it into a solid self, which is the problem. So he says that the misconception of self has been behind creating samsara, and he meditated upon it, and he has seen that none of this different experience which arise in the five aggregates actually is truly me. It is not my identity. I don't have to hold on to any of that. I don't have to react to any of that. I don't have to crave for any of that. Just let it happen and go. And when he leave it like that, he opens up to deeper freedom, deeper peace, and gradually to nirvana. Okay? But what is different for Śāriputra still is that, okay, that momentary experiences are real. And now, as we discuss in the next session, we will go and see that, okay, even that momentary experiences are not real. And why is it important? It gives greater freedom to even act into this world, to benefit others, okay, to become Buddha. The other one is like, okay, I'm just kind of letting go of holding on to it with a negative intention of self, like for self gratifications, for self clinging, how I have been creating samsara, that I let go. So Śāriputra is one who has let go that part. Okay? But then if you want to interact in it further, to benefit others, to perfect it, to perfect into complete awakening, then you need to go deeper. So what we have discussed now is what is called the self of person, or rather the selflessness of person. So we are one as a person, the person's identity, the self of a person, the person's identity, what we call Anātma usually, that is not a separate entity, but it is this flowing of various factors. Again, be careful when I say flowing of various factors, it is not just the inanimate factors like the chariot. Chariot is just an example. So it is animate parts. It is like intentional parts, like intentions, interest, and the thoughts and feelings and perceptions and cognitions and our ability to act, and all that is coming there. So these are all animate parts with life, part with chetana, right? But there is no self-holding to it. There is the very idea that there is a self to it has been creating trouble for us. Okay? So before we stop, we can do a short meditation. It's time, but we can just do a very short meditation just to assimilate this. What we do is like then again just relax. I'm not taking through a series of instruction now, but just try to feel very relaxed, totally let go. Let the mind be totally open. Just be here and now without clinging to anything. Just recognize that aspect of being aware. No matter what you're aware of, just recognize that non-clinging, totally open, lucidly being aware aspect. Relax into that. Now, while remaining in that open, lucidly being aware aspect, again, as we did before, just notice all the various experiences that come and go. May it be your breath, or may it be the forms you see, may it be the sounds you hear, or the breeze touching your body, or the hot or cold, whatever it may be, or even your internal experiences of tightness or looseness, or feeling of bliss or irritation, or whatever it may be. Just see them, just recognize them, and check, is this me? And when you realize this is not me, just think that, oh, this is not me. So no matter what arises, just see whether it is you. And if it is not you, if it is not truly what you are forever, then just see that as this is not me. Even when thoughts arise, just see that this is not me. Even emotional states or different colors of mind, since it changes, it's not forever. See that this is not me. As you find none of this is you, now just relax into whatever state of insight that you've got out of it. Let go of this analysis and just relax into your state of insight. Let it sink in. Okay. So any question on this?
So there should be a clinging to non-clinging. Yes.
No,
Not
don't even
to
have.
avoid cling.
No, let go of that also. So if there is somebody who is trying to cling to the non-clinging, let that also go. So that is like meditation. So this should be more like non-meditation. So it is like, oh, I don't want this thought, I don't want this thought. So somebody is there to reject everything, right? So if you recognize something like that, that is also another experience. So that's also temporarily there. Oh, this is also not me. Let that also go. Okay? So let it keep doing that, but this is also not me. So you're not pushing away something, but whatever is arising, you're just recognizing this is not me, including that one which is doing that recognition. Okay? And this now may be very easy to do. You would have felt a little nice about it. But beyond meditation, when you try to do this in your real life, that's where it goes really deep. Basically, especially in situations where you feel that strong sense of self bubbling inside, like feeling deeply emotional, either positively or negatively, where there is this strong sense of I want this, or I hate this, and I am angry, or whatever comes, right? So at that time, I just can't tolerate this, or all that when it comes, just remember this and try to, as a first step, try to see when that strong I is there, I won't act with my body, speech, and mind now. Basically, I'm not getting into further thought about it or action into it, but let me just look into what is that I at that time. Okay, when that strong sense is there. So if you haven't meditated, it may not be easy at that time. You will not be able to even penetrate it at that time. But if you try this often, what we have done now, if you try that often, then when that strong sense of I comes also, you will be able to, without even sitting in meditation, you will be able to just watch and see how this is what's happening. So you'll see how certain aspect of mind is coming like a thief and taking over yourself and making you feel like this is yourself. The moment you see that, it will start dispersing. It will start going away. So when that happens, like when in real life, even during the strong sense of self, you are able to do that, there you will feel deeply, much more deeper insight, very liberating kind of insight. Okay? So we can try that and we will continue. Okay? And we'll do the dedication. अनेन पुण्येन दुःसर्वदर्शितम् अवाप्य न चेत्य च दोषवेद्युष जरारुचा मृत्युमहोर्मिसङ्गुलत् समुद्धरेयं भवसागरा जगत्. Through this merit, by attaining omniscience and conquering all faults and adversities, may I liberate all beings from the miserable waves of ocean of existence of birth, aging, sickness, and death. May there be peace and happiness in the world. May all beings be happy. Okay, thank you.